right. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody this morning? Good. How's everybody else? Great, great. If you don't know who I am Reverend Michael Everett Davis. I am ordained as an interfaith minister through One Spirit Interfaith Seminary, and I'm serving as spiritual director here at Unity Indianapolis under special dispensation through Unity Worldwide Ministries. It is a delight to be here this morning and every Sunday. So I used to say that I had 7 jobs. And I think if I counted them all up, I'd had 7 jobs at one point in my life and in the not so distant past. Now I've narrowed it down to 2 2/4. So, but one of my other jobs, and each of these jobs that I have, I call them jobs. They're callings, they're necessities in my life and what I do. And I can actually move away from this, I forget. And so one of the things that I do, I work for Indiana University Health, IU Health, as a standardized patient. Some of you may know that, some of you don't know that. And what a standardized patient is we work with med students and nursing students and fellows and doctors and all kinds of people in the medical field, and we do simulations to help them hone in their skills. And with medical students, we work with them for their clinical skills. They need to learn how to take a history, your medical history, your family history, and they also need to learn how to do physical examinations on you, like listen to your heart, listen to your lungs, your abdomen, all these fun things. And at the Simulation Center, we are certified standardized patients, which means we've gone through training and testing and to where we can actually teach, we help teach the med students. We can give them feedback, correct them on their techniques. And as an actor and as an improviser, and as a minister, I get to take those skills with me into that job to help the med students communicate better. So anyway, this week, Monday, I was portraying a patient who had concerns with high blood pressure. And so the med student, this is the end of med school for them. This is their big test. And so they're finding out what my diet is, exercise, family history, all this stuff to figure out what could be the lying cause of high blood pressure or hypertension. And then, so they find all this stuff, and then they would counsel me on, so you really, you should watch your diet because you're taking in a lot of sodium, and when you eat a lot of salty stuff and you get thirsty and you drink water, all that water gets absorbed into the sodium, which makes there's more fluid in your veins, which makes your heart have to work harder, which causes high blood pressure. Or you may be eating some fatty foods, really not good for you stuff, and then the cholesterol starts to build up and the plaque in your system starts to build up, and your heart has to work really hard, and it raises your blood pressure. Or there could be stressors in your life. And just like when you get stressed and you get really tensed up, your blood vessels also get tensed up and your heart has to work harder, which can cause your blood pressure to go up. And I was thinking, we have all these things for our circulatory system, our musculoskeletal system, all the systems of the body, but what about our spiritual system, right? We have spiritual systems. What we put into our thoughts goes into our spiritual system. So to help our circulatory system, we change our lifestyle habits with food and exercise. So with our spiritual system, that food I'm going to equate with thoughts. And exercise would be spiritual practice. These are lifestyle things that we can change to help ourselves. Because when we feed our bodies with junk food and unhealthy fat, excess sugar, our circulation system and blood vessels and arteries get blocked up. And when we get tired and we get run down, and so we want more energy, so we feed ourselves more of the sugar and the bad stuff, and then we crash and we get even farther down and even cause damage. The same with our spiritual system. The junk that we feed it makes us feel down and stressed, and then we feed it with more junk, more social media, more news, more thoughts of lack, more unworthiness thoughts, only to bring us down even further. Ernest Holmes has a quote, "Life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it," much like your grandmother said, and Mary Baker Eddy. It's the law of mind action. What you think about, you bring about. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. It's things that we've heard many, many times. Thoughts of lack. I used to, with all those 7 jobs, I was working. I was working paycheck to paycheck just to make ends meet, maybe have a little bit for some entertainment. And then sometimes I might get another job. I might get an extra job at Beef and Boards and do a show, and that would bring some money in, and I'm like, oh, good, yay, I'm getting a little bit ahead, and then my car breaks down. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away, right? We've all heard that. That is not prosperity thinking at all. Yes, I'm grateful that I had that little extra income to pay for that car, but then I think, I have that thought of I'm not worthy to have anything extra. If anything extra comes along, something's going to break down, and I'm going to have to pay to get that fixed. So this really is that holding that thought of lack in my brain, and it always produced a situation where I could not get ahead. And a few years ago, Ed and I, last year here, we did a year of worthiness. This year, a year of possibilities. Last year was a year of worthiness. And one of the months was prosperity. Like, this is prosperity. Last year, we were affirming that we are worthy of prosperity. This year, we are claiming it and knowing it. But we had an affirmation. I am worthy of divine abundance. I deserve to have all my needs met and more. And I claim the keys to the kingdom now. And before we did it here, in playing with that affirmation, because I would do it every night, 3 times before going to bed, oftentimes several times during the day, and I added to it myself. It was like, and I enjoy seeing my accounts grow. My checking account started growing. I was able to put money in my savings account. I was seeing the seed that I had planted was starting to grow. And yes, the money was coming from, I was working more. I was getting more hours at work. I was getting more jobs as an actor. I was speaking here more. So more income was coming to me. And I was able to use that for other things. My car wasn't breaking down. I was able to pay off my credit card bill so that I no longer had that credit card debt. And even before all of that, when I was going into seminary, through all the discern that I went through of what I was going to do, and one spirit is what bubbled up to the top, I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. It was expensive. It was several $1,000s, and I did not have several $1,000s, and I didn't know where several $1,000s was going to come from. There was an application fee, and it was like $90. I did have $90. And I knew, well, I can apply, If I don't get accepted, that $90 is gone. That's fine. I have it here and now. I won't miss it. So I packed everything up and I put it in the mail. And as I put it in the mail, I said, if I get accepted, I don't know where the money is going to come from, but it will be there. I got accepted. Every month I was able to send in my payment for seminary. It was always there. It was always there for me. And I think in that situation, I had a switch in my mind of whatever prosperity I was getting, whatever riches were coming in, I was putting them back out for something good. And so it kept coming back. I would send it out and it would come back to me, and even more, and even more. So I started seeing finances grow. It took a lot of time, but then it was no longer a burden for me. It was no longer a worry. So the other day, in thinking, I was like, I have this book. It's called In Tune with the Infinite by Ralph Waldo Trine. I bought this book. I don't know why. I think it was for a class and we didn't use it. But I had it. I stuck it in my computer bag and I took it with me to work. I was going to be at the simulation center. It was my turn to do front desk duty, which is basically sit there, wait if the phone rings, and help guide people where they're going to go. So there's some downtime. So I had this book with me. I picked it up. I was like, okay. I opened it up. It went directly to, I didn't flip through pages. I just opened it, and it was the beginning of a chapter. Plenty of all things, the law of prosperity. That was the page that it went to. So I read it. I started reading it. The language is not to my liking so much, but I plowed through. I'm figuring out what this guy is saying. But also this book, many consider this to be the one of the inspirational works that led to Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich. So this is the predecessor of Napoleon Hill. But reading through it, I underlined a few things. Men who, thinking they possess their wealth, are on the contrary completely possessed by it. So you think you own your wealth. It's mine. Oh, that's mine. I own it. I'm going to hold on to it. Oh, this is mine. I'm going to hold on to it. You keep holding on to it. I own this. I own this. I own this. I own this. To the point you don't own it. It owns you. You can't do anything because you are so stifled and so frozen up with this thought of I can't let go of it or else I'm going to lose it. So yeah, you don't own it. It owns you. The things that come into our hands come not for the purpose of being possessed. As we say, much less for the purpose of being hoarded. They come into our hands to be used wisely. We are stewards merely, and as stewards we shall be held accountable for the way we use whatever is entrusted to us. So as I said before, it was like the money was coming in and I was using it to pay for my seminary classes. I use it to, using it for good instead of just holding it and hoarding it or buying things and putting them in a shelf. Never to be seen again, not even for enjoyment. And then, wealth beyond a certain amount cannot be used. And when it cannot be used, it then becomes a hindrance rather than an aid, a curse rather than a blessing. Again, you're bringing in so much, and you can only use so much, and the other becomes a hindrance. I don't know what to do with it, but I might lose it. It brings in fear and that thought of lack that I might lose it. And this final paragraph in this chapter, he wrote, opulence is the law of the universe, an abundant supply for every need if nothing is put in the way of its coming. The natural and the normal life for us is this. to have such a fullness of life and power by living so continually in the realization of our oneness with the infinite life and power that we find ourselves in the constant possession of abundant supply of all things needed. Then not by hoarding, but by wisely using and ridding ourselves of things as they come, an ever-renewing supply will be ours, a supply far better adapted to present needs than the old could possibly be. In this way, we not only come into possession of the richest treasures in the infinite good ourselves, but we also become open channels through which they can flow to others. That's the law of reciprocity, right? Give and receive, give and receive, give and receive. And we become open channels. We become open channels. That flow is going through us. We get rid of the plaque and the cholesterol and the fat and the sodium in our bloodstream to become a more open flow for our heart to beat easier. In our spiritual system, we release the negative, the unhealthy, and become an open flow, become open channels. This takes practice. It takes lots and lots of practice. It's as constant as breathing. When we find that our channels are no longer flowing, that they are blocked with the gunk, that is a technical term that I learned from Dr. Sue Morter. Gunk that we have been feeding our spiritual systems, how do we clear it? Today's daily word scripture, I think, explains it. And today's daily word scripture was 2 Corinthians 3:18. But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord. So, looking at this metaphysically, this is a focus on the transformative power of spiritual consciousness. It's that process of growth. The first thing, the unveiled face. Metaphysically, the unveiled face refers to the removal of illusions and limitations. Those false things that we believe about ourselves, the I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not thin enough, all of those I'm nots, we take those off. We take those off to reveal the spiritual truth, our connection with the divine. And beholding as in a mirror suggests self-reflection and introspection. It's that process of looking within, looking deeply at our thoughts and beliefs. And we gain insight to our divine nature, and we align with God, with the divine. It seems every message I've been getting recently is also the same thing. It's go within, align with the divine. When you find yourself stuck, this is the beginning. This is what you do. You go within, get rid of the falseness, go within, and align with the divine. Look into that mirror, that reflection of yourself as the divine right there. Transforming into the same image. Metaphysically, it implies that we cultivate a deeper connection with Spirit. And when we do that, we embody divine attributes such as love, compassion, wisdom, and grace. So that mind action is starting. We've gone within. We're aligning with the divine. We're seeing ourselves as the divine. We're having those thoughts. And now we're starting to present and express ourselves as those thoughts, as a divine being. From glory to glory represents ongoing progression and evolution, the spiritual consciousness. every spiritual awakening we have to the next. Glory to glory. Spiritual awakening to spiritual awakening to spiritual awakening. And I should say spiritual awakening to spiritual awakening to spiritual awakening as our consciousness expands and grows higher. My understanding is when this building was built, the roof design was on purpose to represent that unfolding of our consciousness. The Spirit of the Lord symbolizes the divine presence and the guiding force within us. The Christ within, the divine within us that supports our spiritual growth and transformation. So again, it's that process of taking off the falsehoods, the untruths, the negative, the I'm not worthies, the I'm not enoughs, going deep within, recognizing yourself in the reflection as the divine, aligning with that, expressing yourself as a divine being, and knowing that that dwells within you. That's your faith. And as we're affirming this month, through my faith and understanding, I know that everything that I need is available to me. So our faith, knowing that there is divinity in me, and understanding was the combination of love and wisdom. So I understand that I have this, that everything that I need is within me or is available to me. And then with our unity principle number 5, then we act on it. Don't just know it, act on it. So that's the nice, deep spiritual, this is how we can get through some stuff. Laughter, I hear, is the best medicine. So I looked it up. It's true. Laughter is strong medicine. It draws people together in ways that trigger healthy physical and emotional changes in the body. Laughter strengthens your immune system, boosts mood, diminishes pain, and protects you from the damaging effects of stress. Nothing works faster or more dependently to bring your mind and body back into balance than a good laugh. Humor lightens your burdens, inspires hope, connects you to others, and keeps you grounded, focused, and alert. It also helps you release anger and forgive sooner. So having a good sense of humor as well as a good spiritual practice can help your spiritual system. So yesterday I looked up, and Greg had posted some funny church bulletin stuff on Facebook last week, I think. And so I looked up some stuff, and I found some more. So some of these may be familiar, some of them are new. I had tears yesterday because I got to laughing and I couldn't stop. I know what they are, so they're not as funny to me now. But I'm going to read through a bunch of these just because I think we should laugh. The world is heavy enough. So these are from actual church bulletins, okay? Scouts are saving aluminum cans, bottles, and other items to be recycled. Proceeds will be used to cripple children. The outreach committee has enlisted 25 visitors to make calls on people who are not afflicted with any church. The audience is asked to remain seated until the end of the recession. We might be here a while. The low self-esteem support group will meet Thursday at 7 to 8:30 p.m. Please use the back door. Ushers will eat latecomers. The third verse of Blessed Assurance will be sung without musical accompaniment. For those of you who have children and don't know it, we have a nursery downstairs. The Reverend Meriwether spoke briefly, much to the delight of the audience. During the absence of our pastor, we enjoyed the rare privilege of hearing a good sermon when J.F. Stubbs supplied our pulpit. Due to the rector's illness, Wednesday's healing service will be discontinued until further notice. Remember in prayer the many who are sick of our church and community. An announcement in a church bulletin for the National Prayer and Fasting Conference: the cost for attending the Fasting and Prayer Conference includes meals. The peacemaking meeting scheduled for today has been canceled due to a conflict. The sermon this morning, Jesus Walks on Water. Sermon tonight, Searching for Jesus. Next Thursday, there will be tryouts for the choir. They need all the help they can get. Barbara C. remains in the hospital and needs blood donors for more transfusions. She is also having trouble sleeping and requests tapes of Pastor Jack's sermons. The over 60s choir will be disbanded for the summer with thanks of the entire church. The missionary from Africa speaking at Calvary Memorial Church in Racine, named Bertha Belch, announcement: come tonight and hear Bertha Belch all the way from Africa. Don't let worry kill you. Let the church help. Irving Benson and Jesse Carter were married on October 24th in the church. So ends a friendship that began in their school days. At the evening service tonight, the sermon topic will be, What is Hell? Come early and listen to our choir practice. Another choir one, because choirs are funny. 8 new choir robes are currently needed due to the addition of several new members and the deterioration of several others. Please place your donation in the envelope along with the deceased person you want to be remembered. Weight Watchers will be at 7 p.m. Please use the large double door at the side entrance. In the church bulletin during the minister's illness, it says, God is good, Dr. Hargraves is better. Applications are now being accepted for 2-year-old nursery workers. Helpers are needed. Please sign up on the information sheet. Lent. Lent is that period for preparing for Holy Weed and Easter. In that vein, our next song is Angels We Have Heard Get High. Anyway, laughter is good. It helps clean out the system, as well as meditation and prayer. Karen sang today, I hope you dance. Making the choice to dance is prosperity thinking. When you're down in your dumps and you think that nothing can go better, make that choice to dance. When you make that choice to dance, you know there's some joy. There's joy in dancing. Joy is that expression. Dance is an expression of joy. So when you do choose to dance, you start to expressing joy, and more joy comes to you. And then you dance even more and the bigger that you dance, the more joy you have, and then you start that joy starts going out to other people, and they start receiving your joy. And then they start expressing their joy, and then you get that joy back. And it's still that same thing. You are sharing your prosperity with others, and it comes back to you. So let's remember to nourish our spiritual system every day. Pray. Use affirmative prayer. Remove the false layers of the world. See the divine reflecting in you, as you, through you. Meditate. Listen to divine wisdom that is deep within you. Use prayer and meditation to filter out the junk, leaving only the good, pure thoughts that lead to a longer, healthier, and more prosperous life.